Meet the Bloodied brother, the most overpowered Fallout 4 build that I have ever made. While this is an Anniversary Edition build, I will also be including a couple of changes that you can make in order for this character to work the same way in the base game. The special loadout I started with for this build was 3 Strength, 1 Perception, 10 Endurance, 3 Charisma, 6 Intelligence, 2 Agility, and 3 Luck. For the first time ever, this does not include the special book in Sanctuary, because I simply didn't need it. Feel free to throw that extra special point wherever you fancy, and I look forward to finally having a Fallout 4 build where the comments don't assume I messed up the special numbers by 1. I think it should be fairly obvious that Endurance is the one stat that really matters, as this determines the number of hit points we have. This build needs those hit points more than any others, so maxing it out is a must. Pretty much every other stat is just raised high enough to get the perks that I needed. Speaking of which, let's move on to the perks now, starting with the major perks, which are of course the most important ones to focus on. These are Lone Wanderer, Commando, Gun Nut, Armourer, and Science. Lone Wanderer is arguably the strongest perk in the game, increasing the damage you deal, how much damage you can take, and your overall carry weight. It's a real strong all-rounder perk, with the one caveat being that you can't travel with a companion, or else it stops working. Commando is the main damage perk of the build, increasing damage with automatic weapons. It also comes with a chance to stagger at higher ranks, which is arguably one of the best effects of all. Gun Nut is the first of our trio of crafting perks, allowing us to upgrade our weapon to be the best it can possibly be. Armourer is our second crafting perk, and with it we can unlock more defensive upgrades for the armour we wear. Considering its power armour though, we will also need the Science perk in order to get the best upgrades, as Armourer will only get us so far. On to the minor perks now, which are Life Giver, Bloody Mess, Scrounger, and Scrapper. Life Giver is a personal favourite perk of mine, and will increase our maximum health by 20 points per rank. Considering we already have our endurance stat maxed out, this is the next best way to increase our overall hit points. Bloody Mess is our secondary damage perk. It doesn't provide anywhere near as substantial a bonus as Commando, but it does stack, giving us a little extra punch to every one of our shots. Scrounger is up next, and this perk will help us manage our ammo, by finding more of it on our travels. One of the only difficulties I had at all with this build was almost running out of ammo while playtesting, so this is certainly a useful perk to have. Final of the minor perks is Scrapper. This perk provides you with a greater yield of junk when scrapping down weapons and armour. Improving our equipment is a critical part of the build, so the easier we can get our hands on the necessary junk, the better. Finally, we have the role-playing perks. These aren't necessary for the build to work, but do fit with the theme of the character, and provide a small bonus overall. These perks are Toughness, Chem Resistant, Ghoulish, and Solar Powered. Toughness increases our damage resistance by 10 points per rank. With a total of 5 ranks, this means an extra 50 damage resistance. We do have well over 1,000 points of damage resistance, so this means pretty much nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I had a bunch of spare perk points, so I figured, why not? Chem Resistant makes us you're immune to chem addiction. Chems can make you substantially stronger, both offensively and defensively, so not having to worry about the potential downside of them is nice. I didn't actually bother using chems at all when playing as this character, because I was plenty strong enough already, but if you wanted to be even more OP, then that is an option. Penultimate perk is Ghoulish. This makes it so taking radiation damage regenerates missing health. The final rank makes it so you heal rad damage over time, and I would actually recommend avoiding this last rank. I used radiation to maintain a loss of hit points, so I didn't want to lose them passively outside of my control. Last of all is Solar Powered. This was a perk I got just a single rank of, as the secondary rank is also one which heals rad damage. The first rank, however, provides an increase to both strength and endurance during the daytime. The strength isn't too relevant, but the extra endurance does provide us with some more hit points half the time. The main weapon for this build is the Bloodied CR-74L. This is an automatic rifle which gets stronger the lower your health is. This means you can sacrifice a little bit of tankiness in order to become a more powerful attacker. The weapon itself is already pretty powerful, being substantially stronger than an automatic combat rifle or assault rifle, even without the Bloodied effect. The fire rate is a little on the low side for an automatic weapon, but that is quite literally the only proper downside I can come up with for this item. It's genuinely kind of OP, especially considering you can first pick it up from a small raider camp just east of Sanctuary. If you don't have this creation, then there is still a guaranteed bloody weapon in base game Fallout 4 that you can pick up instead. The Survivor Special is a Bloodied laser gun, which while not as powerful as the Creation Rifle, is a lot more versatile. You can mod it to be a pistol or semi-auto rifle instead if you so wish, providing a little more versatility to how you play. Let's now cover the armour, which is a full set of T60 power armour, upgraded to the maximum tier it can be. I painted all these pieces with the Brotherhood Outcast paint job, purely because it's the aesthetic I like most of the build. In terms of some additional mods, I have the VATS Matrix overlay on the helmet, making VATS a little more viable to work with, and the emergency protocols on the torso, which makes you substantially tougher when dropping to very low health. This serves as a pretty nice safety net, and isn't too tricky to proc if you're already using rads to lower your health percentage. There are a couple of legendary T60 power armor pieces, in the form of the Exemplar's chest piece and Visionary's helmet, which provide better AP cost in VATS and faster AP refresh respectively. I wasn't able to acquire these as my game bugged out on the Fort Strong quest for the Brotherhood, and this is what the vertibird I needed to get in looked like. You need to complete some Brotherhood of Steel missions for these legendaries, so I was locked out of getting them. Still, if the game works for you, then you can make this build slightly better with these two pieces. The main faction for this build will be the Brotherhood of Steel. The Bloodied Brother is wholly devoted to the Brotherhood, and will do anything they can to serve them. Last week I made an Institute build, and now that I've done a Brotherhood one as well, I've decided I should make one for each of the four main factions with some of the anniversary stuff, so look out for a Minuteman and Railroad build in the near future. The follower for this build will be the Sentinel Power Armor. If you were paying attention in the perks section, you may be a little confused, as I clearly stated that I was using the Lone Wanderer perk, which requires you to travel without a follower. However, the Sentinel Power Armor doesn't count as a follower, despite it following you around. This means it works alongside the Lone Wanderer perk, or even with another follower. Not only does this mean we get ourselves a follower to assist in combat, while still reaping the rewards from one of the strongest perks in the game, but this follower is also stupidly overpowered. Technically all it is a robotic power armor frame that wields an automatic laser rifle. You can attach power armor pieces to it, but these are really just for aesthetic reasons. The damage resistance numbers don't matter at all, as this robot is indestructible. It's literally an unkillable killer robot that follows you around. Not only is this the most powerful build I've ever made, but they also have the strongest combat follower possible travelling with them. Genuinely, it is so stupidly overpowered, but I'm kind of annoyed by it all. The playstyle for this build is to stomp around in power armor and shoot anything you want dead. This character is so stupidly strong that if you follow just that one bit of ultra basic advice, then you will have an easy time with the entire game. You have incredible offensive stats due to an overpowered weapon, which only gets stronger as you take damage. Wearing a suit of power armor and having maxed endurance also makes it so that you're an absolute tank, who can survive the most damaging attacks in the game with ease. Technically, poison damage could harm you substantially, so keep that in mind, but everything else is mitigated so much that even a mini nuke to the face isn't a big deal. You can play this build at low health by intentionally taking rad damage in order to boost the damage you deal, or you can just play at full health, leaning more into the tank side of things, but sacrificing some damage output. Either way works fine, really just depends if you want defense or attack to be the more overpowered of the two. This is the easiest build I've ever played. I had to instantly push the difficulty up to very hard just to even show enemies surviving any length of time, and to make it so my own health bar moved. If you are looking for a challenge, then do not play this build. It is genuinely so ridiculously easy that the only reason to play this build is if you just want a bit of a power fantasy. If you'd like a bit of role-playing to go alongside this character, then stick around for the backstory, which might help influence the choices you make while playing. The Bloodied Brother was a gifted yet reclusive child. While he did well on the academic side of his school life, he struggled with the social side of things greatly. This wasn't due to being socially inept, but instead was down to his anger issues. For as long as he could remember, he struggled with a deep and burning rage. He was easily irritable and would swiftly come to blows with anyone who tried to antagonize him. For the sake of both himself and others, he tried to stay away from people as often as he could, knowing that no good would come of it. This nature led him to seek a job that would require the least interaction with others, and this led him into the field of robotics. He joined up with General Atomics, building robots for the military. He felt good knowing that his work would be keeping the country safe, and that he was helping his fellow countrymen. For a time, this work satisfied him, but as global tensions grew, and eventually America went to war, he no longer felt like he was doing his part. He felt obligated to sign up for military service, feeling that it was not only the patriotic thing to do, but that it might finally allow him to use his violent nature for good. While he was considered a good soldier by his superiors, his time in the military was a difficult and complicated one. Fighting on the front lines only made his anger issues worse, and while he was a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, he found himself spiralling inwards. Eventually, he lashed out at some fellow soldiers, fighting them and causing one serious harm, leading to them being hospitalised. His COs were tempted to let the incident slide, but his own shame over the event made him demand to be discharged from the military. The care he received after leaving the front lines was minimal, and he found life harder than ever. But even in the darkest times, a light can still be found. In his case, it was Nora, a woman he met when returning to his hometown, and one who would calm his raging spirit. She took the time to truly get to know him, and her presence alone was enough to make him feel more relaxed than he ever had before. In time, the two would wed and start a family, providing him with a normal life at long last. Sadly, this stretch of normality is short-lived, and after the bombs fall, he will spiral once again, having lost the one person who could maintain his equilibrium. In the post-war world, he will search for some sort of purpose and direction for his anger, and the military of the Brotherhood of Steel will be the perfect place for him to find these once again. That was the Bloodied Brother, my second anniversary build. If you enjoyed it, then please do leave a like, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see the other builds I'll be making within the next few weeks. Feel free to check out Bad Company Gaming, my challenge run channel, if you fancy seeing me play through some of the Anniversary Edition content. And as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.